Well, back on the back roads again, and going to be checking out a couple more byways today. Haven't been around here in a while now. One of the reasons I'm taking this route, because it's quite a nice route anyway, it's actually through the countryside, but also kind of has to cross a ford as well, which is, you know, can be a bit of a problem at times. So that there are, you know, there are kind of like do's and don'ts about crossing fords or crossing any kind of flowing river or anything like that, or stream I should say, more than a river. Obviously you're not going to cross a river on a bike, are you? But anyway, so we're going to go and check that out and see how it is. Now, one of the first things you've got to remember about riding, you know, off-road, is just, you know your own limits of what you can do and what you can't do. You know, don't overextend yourself. Ride to the, you know, the bike's capability, but more so to your own capability first of all. There's lots of said about, you know, you stand up on the bike, on the pegs, and yeah, they can give you a better view, and yeah, you can put a bit more weight on the front tyre, which gives you a bit more grip. But at the same time, you can't lock yourself in the upright position either. You've got to let the bike float a little bit. And sometimes actually being seated is a lot more comfortable, although you don't get the best view. But let's say if you're riding through forests and things like that, where you've got a lot of low branches, you can't really be standing up, you need to be sat down as well. Also, if you do lose your balance, then being sat down, you're going to be closer to the ground anyway, and if you go really, really slow, that is, you might be able to put your feet down and that'll give you extra balance. So standing up, you kind of got to know when to use it and when not to use it. It's not, you know, a given that, yeah, you're going off-road, you've got to stand up on the pegs. It also depends what kind of track you're on. So if you're on like a really hard compacted track, then yeah, sure, you know, you can stand up and it's wide enough. But if you're going through some really narrow or rutted stuff, which is going to be a real handful for adventure bikes anyway, because they're really big and heavy, you might want to sort of sit down a little bit. And it's got nothing to do with skill per se. This is more to do with actually just trying to, you know, maintain balance, you know, on the bike. So sometimes being sat down is a lot better anyway. Now also, you're not going to ride at real high speed, you know, when you're stood up anyway. The seated position is there for a reason. You know, you're more comfortable, you're tucked in, you're more aerodynamic. But you can, but obviously it's you know, more cumbersome, isn't it? You know, so just think about how you would control your bike, and then think about the surface, think about how rutted it is, and then if you really want to stand up on the pegs. Now, my argument is, if you just slow down a little bit, you don't always have to stand up on the pegs. You know, it's not a prerequisite, it's not a requirement to do so. But anyway, so let's get on to fords, crossing fords. So here's one of the things. It depends, again, what time of year you're going to cross them. Are they really flooded? Can you see the bottom of them, you know, through the water? Is it clear water or is it all muddy water? So if it's really muddy water and it's kind of deep, well, you have no idea how deep it is, first of all, and also this way, yeah. You don't know how deep it is, and also what the bottom's like. If it's rough, you know, lots of holes, whatever, your bike's going to sink into. So there's a limit. And I've ridden this bike through, you know, deep water that would come up to the tank, at the base of the tank. But you know, those are kind of mistakes, really. I shouldn't really have ridden through those. So you really got to be mindful of how, you know, how deep these places are. You know, so try not to get too deep into them, and also don't go into area which you can't see the bottom of. And if you're really unsure, then you've got two options: either just don't do it, abort it, or walk through it. You know, you're gonna have to test the depth and just walk through it. So, you know, that's one of the things, you know, that I would just be mindful of. Hold on. There we go. Right, so let's get on this stuff here and see how far we get. Now, so here, classic example. If you stood up on the bike, you've got a big chance of, you know, hitting your head on some trees. You know, so you know, sometimes just being sat down. I can stand up on the pegs like I am now. I've got weight on the front tyre, and I've got a good view, and I've got a bit more control. But I don't really need to. You know, just sitting down, it's nice and relaxed. Take your time. You know, enjoy the environment, what it is. You know, have a good old view. Yeah, this is lovely. I mean, look at this. This is a beautiful ride. Here. So I'm not hooning through it. Just very gently, just making my way through. It's just a lovely little ride here. Again, you got those sort of tree branches that are not so low today, but you know, if you stand up on the bike, I mean, they are a little bit lower. You know. Right. Wow, this is a nice route. Not been here before, actually. Never been on this byway. Actually, lovely. Wow. So again, you know, just riding along in the seated position, no major dramas. Right, can I get out of here or not? Oh yeah, there we go. Just right, and straight on. Oh, lovely. Well, I think I have to cross this road here. Wow, this is beautiful, isn't it? Look at this. I say I'm still sat down. I'm not going up on the pegs. Just don't need to, because it's a flat track as well. You know, it's just you know, easy riding. Doesn't need to be you know, doesn't need to be ridden aggressively. Doesn't need to be ridden, you know, with a great view. You know, because it's just, you know, pretty easy to do. Right, let's just go this way now. I say, I've never been on this track before, so, you know, it's one of those things. I'm trying to make this video and, you know, kind of tell you how I'm riding it as well, really. So you don't always have to stand up on the pegs, you know, just, you know, and if you are, just let the bike float behind you, you know, pivot on your knees as well, or bend your knees, keep your knees bent, and just let the bike do the work a little bit. I've just got a little one here. So this is, I think I'm coming up to a ford now, so I'm just going to make my way through here. Is it this way? Yeah, I think it is, yeah. Right, let's have a look. Alright, see how it is first. I've got a feeling this is going to be way too deep to go through, actually. Let me have a look. Actually, this doesn't look too bad. Let's have a look. Yeah, it looks pretty good, actually. Okay, so what I'm going to do, go through it. Bit of revs, keep the revs up. There we go. So my feet got a bit wet, got a little bit deeper. So the problem there is I was actually on road mode and I forgot to put it in off-road mode, so as I start to go down, that's when the bike starts to lose power. So anyway, bit of wet feet. It's okay, the boots are wet, but soon dry out in this. So there you can see that I'm, you know, I could see the depth. I could see, you're probably not on the on the video, unfortunately. I could see the depth, I could see through the water, and I know the time of year, we haven't actually had rain for about 2 months here, so I know it's going to be relatively shallow anyway, but I'm still making that assessment before I go through it, not just blindly going through it. Now if I couldn't see the bottom of it, if it was muddy, if it was really fast flowing, then I wouldn't go through it. If I was really in doubt, then I'd actually just walk through it, or get a stick, a depth stick, and see how deep it is, but anyway, that's that one. So again, it's this, this is not necessarily how to do it. There's lots of videos out there. You want to go adventure riding, this is how you do it, all the tips and advice. This is more about what I do. I get on the I sometimes stand on the pegs. A lot of the time I don't stand on the pegs, especially if I'm going through some really rutted stuff, which is really hard work on a big heavy adventure bike. So I just I even go down to a real slow crawl pace, just feathering the clutch, and then just put my feet down, sometimes act as extra stabilizers. Obviously you've got to be very careful of getting your feet snagged and flipping you off the bike, but if you're going so slow, that should never happen. The other thing is about standing up. Obviously I've already talked about that. So the other thing I want to talk about now is sticking your feet out when you're riding quite quickly. Well, you shouldn't really. You should always have your feet on the pegs. There's no need to adopt any kind of motocross style, because it's a totally different thing. Just keep your feet on the pegs if you're just riding normally, and that's what you need to do. The other thing is, I would say don't go too fast. Don't use too much engine power. Lots are said about using these big adventure bikes, lots of engine power, so on and so forth, but you don't need it. You really don't need it. Most of the time, just ride normally. Okay, so the other thing is about what kind of footwear to wear. Well, you need some kind of heavy boots, because your boots, your feet are going to get snagged, or you're going to have to put your feet down one thing or another. Don't go out in trainers or just normal shoes. Just get out properly. Now, where am I going then? All right. Yeah. Let's go this way. So just wear some proper boots, whether it's motorcycling boots, whether it's motocross boots. If you're going to go into serious stuff, start doing it properly, or if it's, like you say, your first time, definitely get hold of some boots, higher boots that can protect you a little bit, just in case you fall off. But if you ride conservatively and thoughtfully, then you're not really gonna come unstuck, really. So you should be able to control the bike. Just watch where you're putting your feet. Try not to go through any narrow areas. Really be careful of stuff that can be sticking out the grass or out the hedges that can snag you as well. That kind of thing. Right. Okay, coming to the next bit now. I think it's down here as well. Yeah, it looks like it. There we go. I'm still on road mode here as well, so I'm not even, these are dry, we're in the middle of summer here, it's dry road, so I suppose what I'm trying to say here, although you've got an adventure bike, you don't have to go into off-road mode, and it's all about throttle control, just control the throttle. The only problem is, as I said before, these adventure bikes, it's about engine management. It's automatically managing the engine power. So if the wheel starts to slip, then because it's got traction control and everything, it will start to wind the engine power down, and that's not what you want. You actually want to power on through a little bit. But this is flat surface here, so it's not really a problem. Okay, so the next thing is braking. Right, so what kind of braking are you gonna do when you're off-road? Now, some people say never touch the front brake. Other people say always, no, you can, just ride it normally. Okay, what I would say is it really depends. Okay, however, if you go aggressive on any brakes, whether you're on the tarmac, especially on the dirt, you will come off, you'll crash quite easily. The front will, whether it's got ABS or not, the front wheel will just slip out, and it only takes the slightest little thing. Hi there. And it only takes the slightest little thing for that front wheel to go, and that's it. Your front wheel is pretty much everything, you know, when you're in your off-road mode. Yeah, your rear wheel is your drive. Your rear wheel gives you a bit of a longitudinal stability, but it's your front tyre. That's the one that's the key. So, you know, just bear that in mind. The second thing is, you know, you don't only have to use the rear brake. You can use the front brake, but you've just got to go very gentle on the front brake. Okay, so you can just lead with the front brake, the front brake a little bit, but most of it's going to be on the rear brake. That's what you want to consider. Now, this is all in just flat, normal conditions. Okay, let's say on the gravel or on the sand or this kind of stuff, loose stuff. So really go light on the front, if anything at all. But if you're not going fast, then you shouldn't really use that much. Anyway, you shouldn't be using that much brakes anyway. Okay, let's say going down hills or up hills. Well, actually, it's your downhill tyre wheel that's doing most of the work. So if you're going uphill, then it's your rear tyre that's going to do all the work. So that needs that's where you're going to apply the brake, you know, to really stop you going back downhill. If you're coming downhill, then it's your front tyre that's going to have the traction, but you're going to have to go very, very slowly. You're going to have to go very slowly to stop that wheel from slipping out. And also, you know, just let it grip, but not go aggressive. Still use a bit of the rear tyre, yeah, but not so heavy. So when they say definitely don't use the front brake, I would say, you know, you still use it, but very, very gently. Most of it's still going to be on the rear brake. So on the road, they say, you know, I don't know, rough figure, 75 on the front, 25% on the rear. And off-roading, I would say the opposite way around. You know, more on the rear, less on the front. And if you are going to apply the front, just go very, very slowly. Now, if you're going very, very slowly and you're in the upright position, okay, like now, I'm gonna brake now. Okay, I just gradually apply the front brake, no dramas. Okay, so you know, you don't have to say, oh no, never touch the front brake. But if you're going rear, you know, if you want to stop in a hurry, then, you know, I did that a little bit more aggressively, and you can still do it. You can still go a little bit more, but you've just got to be very, very mindful. The harder you need to brake, the more you want to apply the rear brake as well, just to flatten out the bike, and, you know, let it control, you know, the rear of the bike as well. Okay, so that's pretty much how I ride, really. I mean, I take it easy, going along, you know. I'm not trying to, you know, win any Dakar races here. I'm just out to really enjoy the trails, go off-road riding, and enjoy what I'm seeing. And go and have a look and see what I can do. The bike can go through anything, pretty much. You know, I'm on road tyres, so it can go through anything, especially this time of year. It can go through anything. You can ride pretty much anywhere. It's not a drama. You know, you don't always have to stand up on the pegs. So you know, you can put your feet down if you have to. You know, just act as stabilisers if you're going really slow. Now this speed, no, it's too fast. Okay, I'm talking. Let me slow right down here. Okay, this kind of speed. Okay, this kind of speed, really, really slowly. If you're having to get through some tough stuff, that's, you know, that's the kind of speed that you can go through. Oh, a tree's falling down here. Finding this lots and lots these days. Right, feet on the pegs, don't need to come off there, and just carry on through. Got to look at the surface over which you're riding as well. Sometimes it's really loose and it's hard to ride over as well. It's a bit like sand, you know, soft gravel. Got to be aware of it. You know, sometimes you've got to steer your way through it. You know, get that front tyre gripping a little bit and pushing. You know, when you go through soft stuff, the soft gravel or sand would kind of build up underneath the front tyre, so it tends to slide over it as opposed to rolling over it, and you want to kind of, and a bigger tyre will allow you to ride over that a lot better. So, you know, being aware of that, you know, sometimes you go a little bit faster to, you know, skip over it a little bit, but I still wouldn't say, you know, go fast at all. Actually, I would just say, you know, take it easy. Alright, so we're going here, we're getting a bit narrower and narrower here. Again, this is just a nice trail. There's no major dramas here at all so far. You know, you never really know what's around the corner. Very soft here, so I'm just gonna, you can't really pick this up on the video, but I'm just kind of moving the handlebars left and right a little bit, just to, you know, push the tyre through. Keeping the power the same, low revs, not using a lot of engine power, and just letting the bike roll on through. Now, there's nothing to say you can't go faster. I'm not saying that. But, you know, it depends what kind of tyres you are. If you're on this kind of stuff, you know, yeah, knobbly tyres would be a lot more effective, and you get more grip, granted. But knobbly tyres aren't really great for the road either, so you kind of, you know, you're getting one benefit on one hand, but you're, you know, degrading it on the other. You got to really see which sort of surface you're really going to be riding on. Now, if you know, lived right in the middle of nowhere all the time, and all you were riding on was sort of dirt trails and, you know, the muddy stuff, especially in the winter, yeah, knobblies are great. But most of the time, and this is what I show in my videos, or have shown in my videos, most of the time you can get virtually anywhere on just road tyres, all times of year. You've just got to be very, you know, ultra careful, you know. So like here, it's getting narrower and narrower because of the hedges, so you just got to be very careful about, you know, how you're progressing. Right, end of the trail here. All right, let me just pick this up. Right, hope you enjoyed that. You know, so it's just a few tips. It's not written in stone. I think I suppose that's the point I'm trying to make about, you know, off-road riding. There are rules, but it really depends. It depends on the situation. Don't always need to stand up. If you are standing up, don't always lock yourself up in the upright position. Let yourself float over the bike. Let the bike float beneath you. You know, pivot on your, bend your knees a lot. Yeah, for anybody who's ridden horses, you know, similar kind of thing. Just let yourself bounce up and down a little bit. You know, just go slowly. Braking, yeah, you can apply the front brake if you have to, but, you know, lead more with the rear brake most of the time. But if you're going really slowly, then yeah, you can apply the front brake. If you're going downhill really slowly, yeah, apply the front brake, you know, apply both. What kind of boots to wear? Just wear some decent footwear, you know, decent boots, sturdy boots that's going to protect your feet, protect your ankles, that kind of thing. Yeah, you could go for the motocross boots as well, you know, come up higher up on the leg. That'd be, you know, better option as well, the best option. You know, just take it easy, know your environment, know where you're riding, and know how you're riding, and know what you're riding and your own limitations. That's really key to off-road riding. The tyres, you know what, you can ride anywhere pretty much on any kind of tyre, especially road tyre. You know, I've ridden pretty much everywhere. The only time you're really going to struggle is in the winter months, you know, when the ground is wet and muddy. The tyres will slip all over the place, especially on road tyres. You've got to be extra mindful of that. So that's where you really got to put your feet down just to guide the bike along and you're crawling along. But also if you're going uphill, your tyre's just going to skid out. So that's when you need the knobblies. But apart from that, you know, you should be able to get to wherever you need to get to. So that's about it really. So I hope you enjoyed that little, oh yeah, going through things or anything. Well, obviously you've got to check the depth, know how deep they are. Don't go to some that you know, sometimes you're going to make a mistake and you might get caught out, but you just got to be mindful of how deep something is. If it's see through the water, if you can see the bottom, see if there are any boulders, rocks that are going to get in your way, that kind of thing. But otherwise, you know, you can go through them. Just take it very gently. Apply the power. Just keep the power on, and away you go through. Right. So I think that's about it. Okay. Hopefully see you on the next riding times on Revelator Alf. Please subscribe, check out the rest of my videos. Loads more on this Triumph Explorer, which I'm riding. Let me just quickly show you what it is, just in case you've not seen it before. You know, it's a big heavy beast. You know, these adventure bikes are heavy, but they can be, you know, it's not false advertising. They do what they're supposed to do. But they're not motocross bikes, you know, they're not hard enduro bikes, you know, they are heavy. So, you know, you can't really, well, you can get into the rutter stuff, but if you drop, it's really heavy. And bear this in mind, when you go off-road, be prepared you're going to drop your bike. There's no shame, that's what happens. So, if you're going to ride one of these bikes off-road, you got to make sure that, you know, you can pick it up and everything. But at the same time, you know, if you're riding a smaller bike, a 250cc or 350cc or whatever, you know, sort of enduro bike, well, they're not that great on the road for long distances. So you kind of, you know, one or the other. Anyway, right, catch you on the next video. Cheers.